Hello and welcome to another edition of Chicago Forward. And today we're going to be talking about veteran issues. As we know, veteran issues have been in the news recently, and so we're here to talk with leaders to figure out what are they doing to help veterans as they seek assistance in local government, whether with the city or with the county. And so today we have here Liz Soto with the Veteran Assistance Commission on Cook County, as well as Grant Jacobson with the same organization, Siobhan Woodard with the American Legion Post 829, and then Marcos Torres, who works in my office but has multiple hats and with the main goal of helping veterans. And so I'm Alderman Gilbert Villegas. I chair the Economic Capital and Technology Development Committee, but I'm a veteran. I'm a U.S. Marine Corps veteran that served during Desert Shield and Desert Storm, and have taken it upon myself, along with other veterans within the City Council, to put forward legislation and policy changes that help veterans. When I was honorably discharged in 1992, I was given a ticket home, and good luck. And this, if you can remember, this was pre-internet, and so I had to actually look through the newspaper ads to figure out who was employing, who was hiring, and try to find employment. And I remember that feeling. And as a legislator now, I want to make sure that we're putting forward our best efforts as a city, as a county, to make sure that those veterans that are returning to Cook County and Chicago have the best opportunities available. So I'll talk a little bit about some of the accomplishments I've done thus far, and then I want to hear from you guys as to what is it that you're doing to help veterans. So recently, in this last year, we introduced some legislation that was very monumental. In the city of Chicago, we have veterans preference, but it was always geared towards the first responders, so police and fire. We were able to expand it for all positions within the city of Chicago to allow for veterans the ability to get hired with the city of Chicago. So we're very happy about that. Another really key legislation that I was very proud of is that in the city of Chicago, we have affordable housing requirements. And so when you're building in the city of Chicago, and you're seeking zoning changes, or maybe it's a planned development agreement, there's a requirement of 20% affordable housing. And so I put forward legislation last year that takes a look at taking half of that 20%, which would be 10%, and setting it aside for veterans. It's often our population that's talked about when they say, well, what about the homeless veterans? And so I told my colleagues, well, let's put pen to paper. Let's really put our money where our mouth is and put forward legislation. And as a result of that, it passed overwhelmingly 50-0. The mayor signed it into law. And so January of this year is when it was enacted and went into effect. And so it's been well received by developers because of the fact that there's VASH vouchers, which are occurring at the federal level, which allow for the veterans to help pay for their units. And so we're very excited about that. And we're advertising that, and we're asking our colleagues to advertise any type of development that's going on in their area that has an affordable requirement, to remind the developers about the 10% for veterans. So again, very well received by my colleagues as well as the developers throughout the city of Chicago. So what we'll do is we'll go around, introduce ourselves like a couple of minutes, and then I got some questions because as you can imagine, everything we're talking about, veterans in the country, our offices are getting bombarded with, what do we do? And so I want to make sure that the viewers know what type of assistance is out there for veterans. So we'll start off with Marcos. If you could just do a quick introduction, who you work with besides myself, and what it is that you do for veterans.
Well, thank you, Alderman, and again, as always, thank you for your service and thank you for having us here. My name is Marcos Torres. I served in the United States Army for 12 years. As Alderman stated, I work for him doing veteran affairs for the 36th Ward, but I'm also the commander of the American Legion in the 2nd District of Illinois.
Thank you. Thank you as well, Alderman Villegas, for convening this meeting amongst these fine leaders here. My name is Elizabeth Soto, and I am very fortunate to serve as the superintendent of the Veterans Assistance Commission of Cook County. And it is just an honor as a leader and as a servant of the veteran community to be a part of this conversation. We serve a county with 80,000 plus veterans just here in Cook County alone. And it's just an honor to know that we have partnerships through the city and through our local non-for-profit American Legions and other veteran service organizations who are going to be here to address these concerns and issues in the community. Thank you.
And I am Siobhan Woodard. I am the 2nd District Commander for the American Legion, as well as a Post Commander, Post 829, U.S. Navy veteran. And I currently run and operate Mr. Appliance of West Loop. As far as serving the veterans, is going to be everything from volunteering with Mission Continues, which is a wonderful organization that brings veterans out to serve the community. So we do food pantries, garden projects in different communities, and as a commander, I share the information. There have been some changes, as you mentioned, and just letting the veterans know if they need access to those programs before they expire, for them to take advantage of them.
Hi, I'm Grant Jacobson. I'm the Deputy Superintendent for the Veterans Assistant Commission of Cook County. I work with Liz. And to echo what Liz has said, this is a great opportunity to talk to everybody, to kind of shed some light on some things that we do at the VACCC, have a veteran good understanding of what we do, good understanding of what we offer, as well as what's going on in the community around us. So I look forward to having this conversation. Thank you for everything you've done. I was there when all those bills got passed. I thought it was phenomenal, and I'm still very impressed what Chicago has done for the veterans in the very recent future, or just in the very short amount of time that I've been in this world. So,
well, here, I tell you, it's my goal to make sure that Chicago is the most veteran-friendly city in the country, and that's an opportunity for us to gain population once that word gets out through the veteran community, especially those that are being discharged and looking for a place they may want to call home. And so we're trying to put forward a great template on assistance programs that are available, employment opportunities, to make sure, again, that we can be very attractive. So what do you think about the direction that the federal government's going with the VA? I think that we've seen in recent news, veterans, 80,000 veterans being let go out of the VA. And a department, in my opinion, where they should be adding 80,000 positions, especially those men and women that have served, and making sure that we're doing our best to respect and honor their service to this great country. So, Liz, what do you think about the direction the federal government's going with the VA?
Especially in regards to those 80,000 proposed cuts, it's a very concerning matter, right? We're here at the local level attempting to assist and adjust all the cuts that are being made. But honestly, I think that someone more well-versed in this particular arena would be Grant. Grant recently off-boarded and came on board to the VAC from the VA. And so it'd be great. We've had plenty of conversations surrounding this issue, and not to overstep you, I'd like to highlight some of those thoughts.
Well, let me just add that I remember when these proposed cuts were being bantered about, and I remember Grant reaching out concerned. And so I'm glad to see that he did land at the VACC at the local level, because he can take that experience that he had at the federal level and translate that into the local level. So Grant, talk about what's your opinion of how you think the federal government's going with VA?
Wow, it was a lot in a very short amount of time. So one of the issues, and this is based off of my opinion, based off of everything that I've seen, and I just want to start this out by saying that Jesse Brown VA Medical Center and Hines Hospital have phenomenal staff. They have amazing frontline workers. They have amazing custodial staff. They have amazing engineering departments. And having to make a decision that the leadership has to make right now has got to be the worst feeling, knowing that you have to make calls that are very unpopular based off of what the guidance you're given. I had a great conversation today with somebody in one of the VA medical centers about everything that's going on and what their thoughts are and everything. And the one big thing that I was taken back by a little bit was that the transparency issue. So one of the VA medical centers is very, very proactive with getting out the information that's been told to them in great detail. And so the employees of this medical center, the VA hospital, are very thankful that their leadership has given them what they got. But the problem is that it's just, what is the leadership getting from DC? What is the disconnect between the veterans community and the DC establishment, the VACO, or anybody that's sitting in positions of power? When they make their proposed cuts, they haven't, as far as to my knowledge, they haven't reached out to the community to ask the community, is this going to affect you? So that leads me to believe that they're not really going to affect much of the medical staff, the MDs or the clinical staff, and that's great. But that brings a bigger question: what positions are being taken? What positions are you getting rid of because they don't seem useful or necessity for the big picture? So you just look at a painter, for example. Well, we can get rid of a painter maybe, but can you? So if you have one painter, now everything that is going to have a secondary and tertiary effect. The big thing is that we need to make sure that the veterans, we answered the call. I served 21 years in the United States Army. You served. Everyone at this table served. We answered the call, and the response to it is supposed to be that we get the health care and the treatment that we need. Now, the VA's provided it, especially in Chicago, top-notch service, Hines, Jesse Brown. You can't get better service. They both have amazing affiliate partnerships. They have amazing MD. I mean, it's just the chief of staffs at both places, even the director, everybody from the top down cares about veterans to a very high extent. Now, do they have the same direction that I believe it should go? No, probably not, but I'm also not in their position, and I understand that too. The one upside that I have is that I've been to 77 different neighborhoods in Chicago, your ward included, and I've talked to not all the veterans of Chicago, but every veteran from at least one of the 77 neighborhoods, and the same message is being clear, is they want to be heard, they want to be seen, they want to be represented correctly. And having you in office is just, it makes it so much easier to be able to facilitate that portion of it. But at the end of the day, these veterans are going to be left to their own devices, and that's where the VAC comes into play, and that's a big push. The Veterans Assistant Commission of Cook County, every county should have one of these. I know Cook County has we're building ours. We've had it for a very long time, but it's getting we're on the upswing right now. So the goal is to be able to take on any of the programs that are getting removed from Jesse Brown or Hines or any other VA medical centers, and try to take them into the county level, because we're fiduciary, we are tax dollar paid for the county, and we are able to take on some of the problems that Jesse Brown or Hines may be leaving to the side. What I would love to see in this, and I understand that really wasn't the answer how I feel about where this is going, because at the end of the day, I don't know, none of us know where this is going, and there's no roadmap necessarily. But the big thing that I'd really like to discuss on this one is that the staff are doing amazing work with the things that they're given. They have overflown hallways full of people being called back to work. Their parking garages are filled to the brim from staff members as well as veterans getting their services. They have it's an overburdened system right now, in hopes that the 80,000 cuts are going to relieve that. And I just find it hard to believe it. I don't think it's out of malice. I don't think that someone is making these decisions like trying to, give the veteran the short end of the stick or anything. I just think it wasn't very thought out as far as how to roll this out correctly. Also because of transparency issues. Nobody knows what the next step is. And I'll end on this one. It does feel kind of like they're cutting the steak like it's a porterhouse steak, as opposed to using an X-Acto knife and cutting a ribeye steak and getting the fat out where you think it should be gone. It's a scary feeling to know that the dollar amount is taken over for the veterans' need and saying, oh, well, we need to be more. And I get that fraud, waste, and abuse is a problem at any agency, any company, any business. But coming in with a very broad brush just seems really not thought out and not appropriate, in my opinion.
Well, and I think when of all the departments in federal government, you want to get laser focused on veterans when we know that it's hard enough to get veterans to come. We need to do more to outreach to them, to tell them, hey, these benefits, you've earned them. These are your benefits, so take advantage of it. Marcos?
Exactly that, Alderman. I mean, to piggyback off of what Grant is saying, with transparency, because we have officials that are elected from locally that sit on the Veteran Affairs Committee in Washington, D.C. Yet I have not heard that elected official talk about this matter. I have not heard that elected official address this matter or say what's going on or address the veteran community. And it's very disheartening knowing that their role in the position that they play. I think that before we knew that the VA had many issues, and then we had the PACT Act come, and it felt like it was really good, and a lot of veterans were getting taken care of. A lot of veterans were getting the things that they needed and getting their benefits and their resource. And then when they go ahead and they cut off 80,000 employees like that, it feels like our legs are cut off from under us. And it makes it even harder on the local level because we're trying to bring people in, worked with Grant, with those missions to get people into the VA, to get them into Jesse Brown, to get them into Hines, to know that it's a safe space, that it's going to be a place that's going to take care of them and give them the resources that they need. And now that's not happening. And then on top of it, what happens to that veteran who gets let go from the VA on top of it and was receiving their services from there. I don't know if you've ever been fired from a job, but I have. And usually I don't like going back to that place where I got fired out to go and receive services or whatever it is I need. And usually you just want to like distance yourself from that. And so if you already feel that you got a short end on the stick with the VA, things of that nature, but then you got the job, the PAC deck's going on, you're feeling good, and then this happens, and I think the veteran community is feeling really duped right now. They're feeling really duped on a large basis.
Because you have generations, even current generations of veterans who felt not even connected to the VA system, right? So they don't feel supported. They've never gone. They don't know what contribution it can make. So they aren't accessing any of those benefits. And to now see that the system is being attacked, I would say would garner even more disdain for the system of the VA, and even, you know, I would hate to say even for the government, because they're targeting what potentially would be the resources when they need them or when they're comfortable with accessing them for them to be there. And I've gone to Jesse Brown, I've gone to Hines, and you know, there are amazing people working there. There are incredible doctors, there's incredible staff at these facilities, and you look at them tearing away even more, and you say, okay, well then, how do I get that next physical therapy appointment? How do I get that, maybe I need to talk to someone, like again, I have a veteran who's looking for some housing counseling. So who does he go to talk to for housing counseling? And he's a senior, so he's retired. And it's like, where do they go? How do they get support? The disability rating process, the PACT Act, helped kind of speed that up. Now what happens to that? Does that fall back to being 2, 3, 4 year process? So there's a lot of things that need to be considered that, as you said, we're cut off with a meat cleaver versus an exact.
It does feel that way.
And I'll say that, you know, just I think a couple, like maybe 3 weeks ago, we did an event at the VFW for veterans, Vietnam veterans, acknowledging the 50th anniversary, and we provided them with a commemorative pin, and one of the veterans was actually began to cry when I pinned him, because he was very happy that we were acknowledging him. And so you have veterans that are out there that feel that they've done so much for this country that the least that we can do, the least the government can do, is make sure that they do have employment, housing, and health care. And the fact that, you know, this is the first department that DOJ decides to take a meat cleaver to is really disheartening. And really shame on those, and not to get political, but shame on those Republican congressional members that are veterans that are not standing up going, wait a minute, this isn't a partisan issue. The one thing that the majority of folks can agree on, probably in the 80th, 90th percentile, because we all have members or we have served our country, is veterans. And what are we doing to make sure that those veterans have a soft landing once they've served our country? And so that's what we're doing here locally in the city of Chicago. I know the county is following suit. But what are some of your organizations doing that are outside of government? And what is it that government should be doing more to partner with you to make sure that these veterans are not falling through the crack?
Well, Alderman, first of all, like you said, when employment, housing, education, healthcare, that was also promised to these veterans. Yeah. So it's not like they're just asking for a handout or asking for something. No, they signed up, they served their contract, they did their duty, and the messaging sold to them was, and if you do this, you'll get this. And so it would be a step up, right? People join the military for those reasons so they can serve. On the local level, you know, what we do with the American Legion, obviously we have been supporting the mission of the 36th Ward and with the VA with Grant Jacobson to get as many veterans enrolled in VA healthcare system as possible, because that's extremely important. That helps the veterans in ways that they didn't even know that it could help, and it opens up doors that they're not even aware that can happen. I tell veterans all the time, tell me your need, I'm sure I can find a solution for it. I don't know what your need, you know, if you want to go sailing, I have a veteran organization that'll teach you how to sail on Lake Michigan and take you sailing, you know, whatever it is you're into. If you like hiking, I got a veteran organization that's what they do on the weekends. They go hiking. So it's really trying to take those veterans, get them more integrated into a community, because many times what happens is when they come out, they've been gone from that community for so long. I remember just coming back from basic and AIT and seeing simple stuff in my neighborhood. I was like, that wasn't there before. Right? And so if you're somebody who's been serving for a long period of time, you're active duty, you're gone bound deployment, your friends, those relationships and stuff like that really aren't there anymore. They've moved on, their life's moved on, but yours hadn't. So trying to create community for those individuals, get them engaged, get them those different resources that they need. But really for Vasquez Post 939, our mission, our focus is really creating community for veterans, so that veterans have community, and in turn that helps them with their mental health.
Is that the same thing happening at Post 829? And then I'll let government talk about what more, or what is it that the Post and and VFW, what they be doing to make sure that there's collaboration there?
So at Post 829, very similar. We've done activities, events to acknowledge female veterans. We have done some housing. Actually, I think we have in the 2nd District, we got a housing event coming up to talk to veterans about how to access their and utilize their VA home loan, right? So there's been some changes to that program. Some veterans may be homeowners or fearful of becoming a homeowner, but that benefit is available to them. So we're working on a resource fair. I believe it's in the next 2 or 3 weeks. And that's going to be at the Tatler Post on Western. So that's within our district. We're also looking at some additional opportunities to offer our veterans who Vietnam and older to understand Medicare, Medicaid. There might be some benefits there that they aren't accessing. So there are a couple of activities that we are planning in the next couple of weeks and throughout the summer that will give veterans information just on, things that they day-to-day life, right? Because again, like you stated, when people come back, or even if they've been in the world, that does not mean that they've had an opportunity to really gain the information and knowledge that they need for them to leverage their veteran status or know what benefits are available to them. I think that was one of the biggest things that I thought was interesting, is that the VA stopped publishing the little booklet that they had. That there was a benefits resource guide. And I get it, printing, you can get to the internet, but we do have older veterans that are not able or don't have the technical skill to download a PDF and read through it. Visual situations as well could restrict that. But yeah, so those are some of the things that we're doing for veterans. And again, with the American Legion, our pillars are veterans employment, family and youth, and Americanism. So we're always looking at the temperature of the nation and attempting to bring some level of input, especially, when people have fought in conflicts. You've seen how things are beyond here, what contributions that knowledge can bring to political or policies as we are moving forward as a nation. And safety, law, and order, which I should know, right? So I am also, I'm the chairperson for Cook County for our Safety, Law, and Order Committee with the American Legion. And one of our biggest programs is a youth program where we call it our Youth Cadet Program. We do this every year, and we get children throughout the state of Illinois. For me, I'm looking for youth throughout Cook County between the ages of 15 and 17. And what we do is we bring them down to Springfield. We teach them about law enforcement, right? They get an opportunity to sit with police officers, state, federal, and local level officers, as well as military personnel. So over a week, they get an opportunity to have conversations with them. They are free to express how they feel, because there are things that are going on in our communities, but it gives them a kind of inside look at military, law enforcement, and just overall policy making as well, because we do train them, we do some lessons on policy making, and the whole goal is to build hopefully little leaders in their final years of high school.
Yeah, absolutely. You can't beat it if you don't see it. So
Correct.
Liz, you were going to say something?
Oh, absolutely. And so just to echo both of your sentiments, it's a common theme, it's a common trend where our veterans leave their community to serve their nation, return to their community, and are completely unaware of just what's available to them. So I believe that these platforms where our leadership, our community organizations, our local government works in collaboration. So collaboration is key. There is connectivity of what each organization and department is providing to these communities, and accessibility, and then how do we tie it all together. So making sure that we have and we utilize our voices to make it clear for our veteran community, again, what's available. If we're siloed continuously through by governmental entities to other local community organizations, our veterans too are going to be siloed. So you had asked sort of a two-part question. What is the county level doing for our veteran community, and then what do we want to see from the county level and beyond in other local governments? And so we're actually in the process of progressing with what we'd like to see, right? Generally answering that question. So we offer immediate emergency financial assistance to our veteran community. And we are one department right now located in a lower level of a Cook County Juvenile Detention Center facility, which is conveniently located across the street from our Jesse Brown VA. So the connectivity is there, visibility is not. So what have we done? Instead of staying siloed, instead of staying inside of the lower level of the building, we have reached out to our partners. We've reached out to our American Legions. We've reached out to our local government. We've reached out to federal side of the house that assists veterans on a greater scale. And we inform them, we empower them with the information and with the services that we're providing. And in turn, our government elected officials, our local VAs, our community organizations all responded in kind with connecting us to our veterans, with connecting services to our veterans, with connecting resources to our veterans, and this is where it starts. I know everyone's focused on all the negative aspects that are happening in big government right now, and while you as an elected official are fighting that big fight for us, and we're behind you, supporting you, we also have the ground level fight, right? So we are all working in tandem together to make sure that these base level services are available. And so we count on each other. We count on each other as partners. We count on each other as veterans to make sure that we have connectability, accessibility, and empowerment of information to know what to share. And so again, we provide the emergency financial assistance. We are connected to our VAs. We are also connected with our local elected officials by providing office hours so that veterans in their community know exactly what's available. And when veterans don't have the accessibility to reach us, we've also started a shuttle program where we provide free, safe, ADA compliant resource so that veterans can be shuttled in from areas throughout the entire county to us. And in turn, whenever the VFW and American Legion and our elected officials have services and resources, we are in kind assuring that our veterans that we connect with are well aware, because that's what it's about, empowering veterans so that they don't have to worry about what's happening at the big overall picture. They know that their needs are being addressed and being taken care of. So
Yeah, and it's good to hear that these organizations and government, local government, are working together. You're right. It's us, the elected officials, are going to fight this fight. And again, this is a community that's very resilient. We understand the issues and we always adapt and overcome, right? That's at least that's what the Marine Corps does. I'm sure the Army and Navy and Air Force do the same thing. Well, you got to throw at least one in there. So what do you recommend to anyone that's watching and looking for help getting their benefits?
Well, I recommend them reaching out to the Veterans Assistance Commission of Cook County. We are not only just a resource, acute care, help you out to rent your mortgage, gas cards, hygiene cards, and kits, but we will also send you to where you need to be as far as what resources out there, what American Legion Post can help you out, what elected official can help you out. We've actually built a partnership, and you're very familiar with this. We were at one point 37 wards throughout Chicago, and as soon as the program ended, We got a bunch more calls for more ward offices, and unfortunately the program had ended already. But in that process, we learned more about the veteran need and the veteran wants. So as the federal government starts removing things, we're just going to change our playbook. So if they get rid of this program, we're going to try to work with Cook County, work with the local official, work with you guys, and see if we can mirror it for the veteran so the veteran doesn't skip a beat. The veteran's experience doesn't start when you enter the front doors of the VA. The veteran experience starts when you get out of the service, and in some cases, it's a 70-year gap before any services were provided. When you're working through the ward offices and moving on to the commissioner's offices, we spoke with veterans, and all they wanted to be reassured that this was what it was. There's some conversations in there that they may have seemed like the biggest deal to this veteran, but it was a 2-inch curb for us because we knew it's a very common answer, like what time does your valet end? Now to me that wasn't it was a very small question, but it was everything to that veteran that made it to your office to ask that question. That was that big of a deal for them to walk in, and we were absolutely there waiting for them. We dealt with the caregivers, the support teams, the neighbors, the landlords, the random people that knew a veteran, and we got the same answer. We need this. So at point of access, that was a huge thing. Where's your point of access? Well, we made a point of access into 35 wards throughout the entire city of Chicago. And it wasn't just specifically to be in a ward office. It was that somebody, when they broke down the city of how it's supposed to be built, thought it was a great idea to put 50 wards in 77 neighborhoods. So in order to get equitable health care and equitable access to health care, you need to be in every single one of those wards in both of all 3-4 neighborhoods that consist of that ward. Sitting down, posting, and praying has been what we do at the VA. We do it at the city. I mean, we do it. That's all we do. We post it. We hope that everyone saw the thing that we posted. You guys have so much to offer. Your program has so much to offer. I've witnessed the things that you guys have done. It is phenomenal. It is stuff that's going to outlive us by years. Having us as one group and one voice is going to be the most important part, getting the support behind the VFWs and the American Legions out there. So after is it a couple 20 years ago that everything started kind of going a little bit downhill when it come to people's responses to VFWs and American Legions. It was the same old in certain areas, and it kind of fell apart with veterans having one united voice. So hopefully by bringing back the ward offices and the commissioner's offices and getting back to the front line and getting veterans to see what their entitlements are and explaining to them that this isn't free health care, this is an entitlement. They are entitled to this. It is not a matter of you're not going to cut somebody else out of the line because you're getting your health care. There's priority groups at the VA healthcare system, and they'll identify where you're going towards it. So you don't ever have to worry about cutting a veteran off. That is for you. But to echo Liz, for her last statement, absolutely, we need to make sure that the veterans understand that no matter what happens on the federal side, Cook County Veterans Assistance Commission is the place you're going to need to go to find out the resource places, to find out what the next best step is, what is the next step. Great example, you go to the hospital right now and you're a certain percentage covered under your VA disability. Can you go to any hospital and go to their ER? Well, a lot of veterans don't know that, but you absolutely can. It's covered under the Community Care Act. And there's obviously stipulations. We can walk you through it if you come to the VAC. We'll explain it in depth and detail. But if you have a mental health problem, we have a thing called the Compact Act. And everyone at this table knows what the Compact Act is, but I promise you people don't know what it is. So it's not about location, because every veteran generally knows that there's a VA. If you're in Chicago or the Chicagoland area, you have two of the top premier VAs within 3 or 4 exits from each other. So it's not a matter of location, it's a matter of information. What are we not telling the veteran and their caregiver and their family members and their support systems that they need to be hearing? And I just finished a course called NAC VSO. I'm not promoting them necessarily, but it opened up my eyes to what exactly VSOs, Veteran Service Officers, and the accreditation process, and everything that comes along with it. And it made me realize that there is a huge gap in trust and in information going out to the public. And have one team, one fight, one voice is something that would be unparalleled anywhere else. And having, like I said, I keep going back. I've seen what you guys do. I know what you guys, I've seen what the rest of the alders are doing. Alderman Raymond Lopez support. I mean, the list just goes, it's bigger than it is shorter. I could list off every name, but I'm sure I'd forget one, and I'm not gonna go down that route. There is 50. But it is the overwhelming support, especially when this program ended. It was wonderful. It was the best time, in my opinion, for a veteran in Chicago to understand that you're heard, you're seen, and you're being properly represented. And that is to no end. You can't beat that. And I thank you and the rest of the committee members for this, the Mayor's Office of Veterans Affairs and Cook County Veterans Affairs Office. Because of the stuff that we all do as a group, we now have a louder voice, and it's because of elected officials like yourself that our voice is actually heard at a different level. We can yell and chant and scream all we want to, and I heard they call the pointy hats. We get the pointy hats in front of the building, but ultimately it's elected officials like yourself, and there's more than there is less, and they're standing up for us, and it's very important. And I want to personally tell you thank you.
No, I appreciate that. And to your point, this is one of the few issues that is typically nonpartisan and bipartisan, where people are like, yes, let's do the right thing for the veterans. And that's why, again, I'm so frustrated with what's going on in D.C., because it is becoming political. I'm like, no, these men and women raise their right hand and write a check, cash up to their life for this country. And so when they are honorably discharged and serve their country, we owe them. And so let's make sure that we're doing our end to pay back. Did you want to say something, Shema?
So, you said so much.
Hey, believe it or not, that's actually said a lot about me.
There's a lot of great information going here.
But yes, the veteran organizations, I am with the American Legion, but the VFW is in the same situation where our membership is aging. Our membership is declining. And what veterans don't know is these organizations are their advocacy, right? So if you always want to know, or you're thinking in the back of your mind, who is fighting for me? Those organizations are fighting for you. And as a younger member of the American Legion, I, attempt to be everywhere I can to know what's next, and how to be an active contributor, because I know that policies come out of us, right? So I'm going to get a little bit on a little soapbox, if I can. Okay. As I said, the American Legion, we have our 4 pillars, but in each of those pillars is also policy, right? So annually we have meetings where the post level members can come up with policies. We have various things that are happening, with the VA. Last year I sat at our national convention that was in New Orleans, 105th National Convention for the American Legion, and I sat in the VA committee and for policies that are coming out of the post. So you have veterans who may be in New York, they may not be in Chicago because it's at a national level, but they're having an experience that a person in, Washington State or in Illinois is having. And out of one of their posts, they said, hey, this is a particular issue. When I served in this area, and this is a result. I had these health issues. How can we get this health issue added to the PACT Act? How can we have the VA look into this? So that policy comes up, or proposed policy comes up, and the American Legion ushers that through and looks for people in DC. They lobby for it. We like to say we're the largest veteran lobbyist organization, right? So people know us for the post, but they may not know us for the policy. And we have been behind many policies that have taken place in the current years, including the PACT Act, and ushering that forward with organizations like the DAV. So we haven't mentioned them, but like the DAV, and you got the GI Bill, you got the Forever GI, and these are all policies that are coming through these veteran organizations. Veterans know what veterans need. Veterans know what they are experiencing. And my request would be, even if you don't want to join a post, maybe you should join a post always, because that's the life and that's the blood of those organizations. So we need members, right, for them to survive, and we need fresh members because they have a different experience, right? They have a different experience of what is happening in the military. It's more technology. There's just a different world that they have gone into when they served, and there is a different world they're coming into when they come out. So that perspective is needed from our younger veterans, or more recent to the military veterans or exiting the military veterans. And if they need resources, they should come. They should come to a veterans organization, be it American Legion, Purple Heart. The Purple Heart will see you regardless if you have a Purple Heart or not. The DAV, with the American Legion. But there are many veteran organizations that will support veterans and give them the same type of information that you are providing over at the VACC. I submitted an application to attend the council meeting, so I'm looking forward to being an active participant as well. Again, because we have to come together.
You know, the one thing about our community, the veteran community, is that for whatever reason, we're quiet. And we feel like if we're asking for help, something's wrong with me. And we have got to change that mindset and to remind people about the fact that we've paid our due to society, and now we're asking for what we're entitled to. We're not asking for anything more. Give us the bare minimum, and we'll go from there. A lot of the legislation that I had proposed around affordable housing for veterans, as well as expanding the veterans' preference for employment, came because I sat at a table with veterans, and I said, "What is it you want me to do for veterans? I know what I want to do for veterans, but I want to hear from you as to what are the challenges you're seeing, and what is it you want me to do as a legislator at a local level, and what is it you need me to do as a legislator to talk to my colleagues at the state and federal level as to what they should be doing." And I think more discussions need to be had, and would love to at some point talk to your organization to figure out what is it more that we could be doing, your organization as well. What is it that we could be doing more of? Again, because the policy ideas that I came up with were based off what the veteran community wanted to see implemented. And so we went to work, and we're looking forward to continuing to build on this momentum, because there is a great sentiment around elected officials around veterans, and we want to capitalize on that. And we want to make sure that we're in their faces, the legislators, the decision makers, letting them know that all we're asking for is a hand up, not a handout. What we're entitled to, and nothing more, because we'll get more as we legislate. But at a bare minimum, let's get what we want right now. And so we've got to stay active, and we've got to get to the City Hall, the county building, Springfield, and DC, in those chambers, and start talking about what we want to see from our elected officials for our community. And so what we want to do is I want to go around, because there's a lot of great information, and so I want to make sure that if you have either a Facebook, X, Instagram, or even a website, you can provide that information, or even a good old phone number, because there's a lot of information here, and we'll make sure that it's displayed so folks can go ahead and follow it. So Marcos, I know that you're with an organization.
There's a couple of things I want to say also. That the Alderman did mention, he passed legislation for Chicago to be designated as a Purple Heart City, and that was a very big deal and very meaningful to the veteran community, not only in Chicago but in Cook County and as a whole. If you come to the 36th Ward, we'll get you squared away. The 36th Ward is for veterans. And the 36th Ward, the Alderman is a Marine Corps vet. Our lead for policy is an Army vet. Our Chief of Staff is a Blue Star mother. I do veteran affairs. I'm an Army vet. And every level in our office, we have veterans working, and we are here to serve veterans. And so whether it be the American Legion, whether it be something you needed from your elected official, if you come to the 36th Ward, whether in your Cook County, McHenry County, Indiana, I don't care. I know that the Alderman will make sure that you get squared away and you get what you need necessary.
So at the Veterans Assistance Commission of Cook County, as I mentioned earlier, we provide that immediate emergency financial assistance and aid direct to our veterans. It's a very seamless process. If you bring in all of your documentation, then you will, and you qualify, then you will receive that benefit that same day. So if you'd like to look into what other benefits and services that our organization provides, please visit us at our website at vaccookcounty.org. Reach out to our office. Pick up the phone at 312-433-6010. You can also email us directly at vaccc at cookcountyil.gov. We also have a Facebook, which is Veterans Assistance Commission of Cook County Office. I won't take all of the highlights. I know that Grant may want to talk about some of our other resources, but you can get connected to us directly, or alternatively, as he had stated, we have our local veteran service organizations. Our organization is actually comprised of VSOs from the community. So reach out to your local VFW and American Legion. Reach out to your local aldermanic ward, your Cook County Commissioner District ward. We are everywhere, even when we're not there. And if we're not there in person, we will be soon. So thank you.
Again, I represent the 2nd District. There is a 2nd District Facebook page. Facebook, search for 2nd District, Illinois.
American Legion, 2nd District.
Yes, it's American Legion 2nd District. As far as, if anybody, as far as Post 829, we represent the south of 16th, okay, and then south of 16th, north of 16th, and going all the way up to Irvin Park, in Western. So if you're in that area and you're interested in learning more about the American Legion, I hate to give out my cell phone number, but I'll give it out. They can contact me, Siobhan Woodard, the commander, and that is 708-204-1630. And I can give you some information, point you in the right direction, probably share information for these resources if they're looking for support.
So I'd like to take a second. Liz gave out the information about our emails and chats and everything, but I'd like to take a second just to let everyone know what the VAC, how it's set up real fast. We talked about the voice of the public and the voice of the community. A lot of people may or may not know this, but the Veterans Assistant Commission of Cook County and all VACs are actually comprised of the cell, which is the working group, which is myself, Liz, and our team, and then we're guided by a board of directors. And the board of directors, as we were talking about earlier, they are the beat of the street. They understand what is going on. They have their feelers out there constant. They're all comprised of veteran services organizations, and they know what the veterans of Cook County need. They know what they're asking for because they are the veteran of Cook County. So with their opinions and their guidance, they guide our direction and what we're going for and how we're doing things. It's very important to have that input. And I know we talked about it briefly, and we've talked about it in depth about having the same thing in Chicago for its own department, and to have layers of government within Cook County to make a pledge to have one person in their office as a veteran liaison. So at any point in time, to what Liz was saying, what we're talking about, you can walk into any elected official's office and say, I'm a veteran, I have a problem, what do I need? Every single office should have one person that reaches out and says, hey, I'm going to contact the Veterans Assistant Commission of Cook County, and they're going to get them squared away. That should be the very first thing they ever do. We don't know what's going to happen with the federal government. Nobody does, at least at our level. But what we do know is what we can do, what we can fix on our own. And the big thing that we have accredited veteran service officers. We have staff that is ready to walk you through your process, and we have access to the VA healthcare system, because that's not going anywhere in the near future. The staff members may. And the second thing I would like to say is Jesse Brown VA Medical Center and Hines VA Hospital and everybody in between, thank you for everything that you do. We are truly appreciative as the veterans of Cook County and the veterans of the state of Illinois. Thank you.
Well, thank you about that. So we're going to make sure that people that are watching have the information. You can also visit 36ward.org. O-R-G. As Siobhan mentioned, you can do a Facebook search or X search or Instagram search for Alderman Gilbert Villegas, and give us a follow. And if there's any issues that people need, they can just send us a message, and we'll be more than happy to assist. So I want to thank Marcos, Liz, Siobhan, and Grant for coming and having a discussion, a very important discussion, a very timely discussion around veteran issues and what services are available. So thank you for coming in. This concludes the edition of Chicago Forward. And thank you for watching, and stay tuned for next month when we talk about some issues that are very important and timely in this country. Thank you.